Sometimes the biggest changes in technology happen so quietly you barely notice them. We're going to talk about one of those today, a huge revolution that completely changed how the internet is built. It's all about the database and this incredible shift from a piece of software you had to wrestle with to a powerful service you can just turn on. And this, right here, tells the whole story. On the left, you've got the old way. Weeks, literally weeks, spent racking servers, installing software, and getting everything to talk to each other. On the right, the new way, minutes. You can spin up a powerful, globally scaled database in less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee. That leap, from weeks to minutes, is exactly what we're diving into. So we're living in this new reality of databases in the cloud. But look, don't make the mistake of thinking this is just about taking old software and sticking it on some new servers. No. This is a complete reimagining of what a database even is and how we interact with it. And right at the heart of this revolution is a familiar name, MySQL. For ages, it was the reliable, open-source workhorse of the web. But around the mid-2010s, something amazing happened. The cloud gave it a second life, a new beginning, unlocking incredible new powers in deployment, scale, and just raw performance. What's so cool is how the big cloud players took what we call vanilla MySQL, the standard out-of-the-box version, and basically gave it superpowers. AWS came out with Aurora, and boom, it's 5 times faster. Google built AlloyDB, focusing on plugging in advanced analytics, and Azure created a version built for serious enterprise-level security. They each took the same core thing and turned it into this high-octane, specialized service. Now, to really appreciate just how big a deal this is, we've got to go back in time for a second. Let's revisit the era of manual installs. It was a time of serious complexity and a lot of headaches. And here it is in all its glory, what I like to call the manual replication nightmare. First, you had to get the physical servers, then install the software. Then you had to painstakingly configure your main or master database. Then you had to do it all over again for a backup or replica. And the absolute worst part, if that main database went down, you, a human, had to wake up at 3 a.m. and manually switch everything over. It was slow, it was risky, and it was a huge waste of time. So, how did we finally escape this nightmare? Well, it wasn't just about writing better code or building faster machines. It was a completely different way of thinking about the problem, a turning point that made all that tedious work just disappear. And the key, the big idea, was the managed service. The concept is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You let the cloud provider handle all the boring, painful stuff, the setup, the updates, the backups, making sure it can handle traffic. This freed up developers to focus on what they're actually trying to do, build cool applications, not be professional server managers. This quote just nails it. It perfectly captures that change in thinking. A database stopped being this delicate piece of software you had to install and constantly take care of. Instead, it became a utility, a reliable service you just plug into your app, kind of like getting electricity from the wall. You don't build a power plant, you just use the power. Okay, so this all brings us to the cloud-native revolution. We've seen the how, but what about the so what? What are the real-world results of this massive shift from software to service? Why does it matter so much to you and me? Well, it matters because it gives developers a whole new set of superpowers. Suddenly, you can slash all that complexity we talked about. You can build an app that serves people all over the world without a second thought. You can move your old, clunky databases into this new world smoothly. And you get top-of-the-line security and compliance built in from day one. It's a total game changer. And maybe the biggest lesson in all of this is something really fundamental. How you deliver a technology can be just as important as the technology itself. I mean, you could have the greatest database ever invented, but if it's a total nightmare to set up and manage, who's going to use it? And you can see just how fast this all happened. It really kicked off in 2014 when AWS launched Aurora and proved that MySQL could be a true cloud-native beast. And the innovation hasn't slowed down at all, with new services like Google's AlloyDB in 2022 pushing the boundaries of what a cloud database can even do. So, this all leaves us with one final, pretty exciting thought. We've watched as the database, one of the most complex pieces of the puzzle, has basically become invisible. It just works. And that really makes you wonder,
when all the underlying infrastructure just disappears? What incredible new things are we going to be able to build next?